What's going on, guys? So I'm going to do a what I hope to be a fairly simple upgrade on the Accord here to 6.6. I had a radiator blowout the other day. Partly my fault, kind of hopping a curb at one of my appointments. You know, sometimes you don't realize there's something there, especially when you're running late and you're a little tired. But that being said, a lot of these Honda radiators, and I'll show you in a second when I flip, are plastic on the top and bottom, and then you have your aluminum core, your center. So they do crack very often, and if your car's lower, this is probably going to happen to you at some point, but I hope not, right? So I'll flip here. So, and I hope this camera lens is clean enough. So very dirty. The car's been literally sitting for weeks, and being that the hood's raised a little bit, you get rain and everything in here. But yeah, literally plastic, you know. That's the OEM part number or serial number, and that's rigged up to a Mishimoto catch can for my overflow. Very simple setup. The factory hoses. So my hopes are there's no water in here. Literally, it's leaked out. I had it towed home. Hopes are just take these plastics off, undo the hoses, the sensors, and it should literally be pulling it out. And I pray to God it bolts up. So here's the replacement. It is reversed. So if I go this way, you see how it matches up. As of right now, Mishimoto, all those major performance brands do not make or provide a radiator for the Honda Accord 6.6, V6, TLs, you name it. So this is our eBay performance radiator. It's very nice in my opinion. Welds look great. Welds are pretty good. This is a 3-core. And as far as everything, you have your mounting points for the fans, your drain plug, your sensor bong there, and then you have your in and your out if you're automatic for your transmission cooler. If you're manual, you will not be using that. If you want to, you could potentially use that as a transmission cooler or some type of other cooler, oil cooler, but I highly recommend you don't. If there's ever a failure in your radiator, all of your coolant will mix into your transmission or oil, and that is a nightmare. It happens a lot with automatics, especially with these factory radiators. It's happened to me on a TSX, and the transmission was doomed. There's no way around it. And unfortunately, by the time you find out, what's inside is mud. So this is clearly empty. It's dry. A little moisture, but that's about it. So I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna just cut away in between the steps so you guys can see what's going on, and I'll spare you guys the I guess the nuisance of watching every little thing. Plus I don't have a tripod right now, so this is kind of the way we're gonna edit. So let's go. All right, so you're gonna remove all the clips to get this fan or upper radiator trim off, and this box, if you have it, which sits right here. So you're gonna get that out the way. Then you have these radiator brackets. So if your car goes through winter like mine, they may snap off. So I snapped this one off some time ago, trying to do something here, I can't remember. So you're gonna want to remove these, undo this line if you have this line for your reservoir tank. I think the original kind of sits in here. I can't recall, it's been a while. You're gonna want to undo your hoses, right? So there's one there. The other one's at the bottom, which you may not be able to reach until you remove the fans. I will warn you, these tend to break too, or they tend to free spin. It's just a common Honda problem. You may have a hard time getting these off. Especially if the backside is rounded out. All it is a square nut in between some plastic, and you can see that one looks like it doesn't even make contact on either end. You can see here that one kind of makes contact, but look how bad it is. So one of the things I do hate that, you know, and that one's cracked, so you can see there. I'm pretty sure at some point I tried to remove this, or someone tried to remove this, and they weren't very successful. But luckily today I have no choice, so that needs to come off, and that can make this project go from maybe 30 minutes to 2 hours. Who knows? You know, just exaggerating so you don't get your hopes up. But let's get into it and start taking some stuff off, and then we'll come back. Alright guys, so coming back to the video, unfortunately, like I said, once these bolts are bad, they kind of just snap off. So unfortunately on this side I'll have to drill and maybe re-tap that one, and on this side I'm gonna have to do both. It's just, it is what it is. This car is pretty old at this point, so I'll have to re-drill and tap. Now for these, this is where I'm getting. Now this support is cracked here. Let me zoom in. So you may have to do something like this, where you wedge something flat in between there just to get the bolt to continue to come out. I got this one out. That one's no problem. This one's probably gonna be okay. Maybe not. It's kind of rounded. This one, I'm praying to God it comes out so I can pull these fans out and continue. But if you run into that problem, you will have to wedge something in between there, and maybe potentially put something here to squeeze it shut. It's just a complication with these plastic radiators. That's why I hate them, especially if you need to get in here multiple times. Like I changed, now that I think about it, I changed the AC compressor, so I had to remove a lot of this at one point. And I hate to say it, but these are kind of like one time, put it in and out, almost like Beamers, where you remove something, chances are it may not be easy to take it out again, or it may break at some point. So alright, that's just a quick update, and let me continue. Well guys, I think I need stitches. I went to go cut a clip off to get this bumper off, and went straight through the clip into my hand. Alright, so this is the center, if we can place ourselves, of the radiator on the bottom. Here's the fan plug, one of them. Got my gauze stuck here. On this end, I got no hand to point with now. On this end, let me zoom in. On this end of the radiator, there's like the bushing there, right underneath. Where is it? I just unplugged it. Here is the temp sensor plug. So you may have to push it in, like you're connecting it really hard before you can unplug it. Because a lot of these are getting, you know, hit with everything that rides underneath your car. So, but it's, let me zoom back out. Stand by. It is right here on this side. Okay, you have to disconnect this. This is probably what's keeping your radiator from pulling out. This, and then this guy. So I'm going to try to pull this out now from the top. Wait. All right, so let's see. Do I have any luck? All right. This one's free, but obviously the radiator's holding it. All right, let me get my hands back and we'll see if I can pull this out now. All right, so it's halfway out, and I stopped here to show you something. So I got about to right here before realizing there was another fan plug. So if you're able to get that off prior to lifting it, it is on the driver's side. This sucker here pulls off. It is the other half of that air box, right? That's gonna get it stuck, and then if I can zoom in, the radiator is getting caught on, come on, see the cylinder there? That's the bottom side of the condenser. That's the air dryer. Oh man, all right, you can kind of see it. I'll get a closer look when I can, but it gets caught on the air dryer on the driver's side too, so you got to get past that before you can pull up. So all right, hold on. All right, so here we go. Let me zoom in now. So this is the air dryer, this assembly, maybe too close. This is the air dryer right here for your condenser. If you ever change your AC, you need to change this cartridge right here, which I failed to do. My air could be cooler than it is now, but it's not, and it's probably because of that. So The radiator does get caught right here at the bottom. Right here. Can I get closer? It gets caught right. Jesus, now that's that same some zoom is crazy. It got caught right here, so you're gonna have to push the radiator in towards the engine to get it over, and then literally kind of go left, right, and kind of shimmy it out until you can clear everything. You have, Jesus, once again, your passenger fan, and over here you have your passenger fan and your temp sensor for the radiator, and then these white clips are attached to the actual fan, so be careful with that. Radiator's out. I'm going to try to transfer everything. So for the bottom hose, I just took it off the engine side. It was much easier than trying to clear the bottom, and you can see here on the manuals we don't have this section utilized. That's for the automatics. On my radiator here, it's cracked somewhere down here. I'm not sure, but this is where it's leaking the remaining water and fluid. I'll figure it out once I transfer everything. The sensor needs to go on your new radiator, and then you need to transfer your fans in the correct orientation. So make sure you guys do that, and you can drop it all back in. Hopefully easier said than done, so we'll see. Fans are direct bolt-on, so I'll give you the link for you guys looking to do this. And then for the metal fan, just threw some plastic down and I'm respraying it black with some Rust-Oleum just to keep it from rusting more. And whatever, the fan's plastic, the blades, I just sprayed all of it. Like, why not? Just get the whole back coated. I'm not looking to make anything pretty, just make it last longer. So that's that. Once that dries, I found some new shiny 10 mil. I'll put those on the bottom because this one needs 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top. This one just has these pegs at the bottom there, one here. Lines up perfectly. And like I said here, you got the two, the shadow, the 2 bolts at the top and bottom. So should be ready to go in a second. Until then, just hang tight. I'm going to transfer these hoses while that dries. Then hopefully by then I'll be good to go. Alright, so everything's transferred, beautifully lined up. Now I'm praying to God it slides in just as good. This radiator seems a little wider, but it just could be an illusion considering you have all this plastic on this one, and the plastic sticks out further than the actual fins. Sorry, plastic sticks out a little more raised than the actual fins there. Original sensor plugs in just fine. That has an O-ring. As long as it's clean, it'll seal up, tighten it pretty well. It won't snap like on this one. Hoses fit perfectly. Happy about that. Used the original hose clamps. Just painted them black to keep them from rusting. The 2 screws I found fit, but they were too long, so I used washers. And then the 2 bolt screws, nuts, screws, whatever on the top did fit. But you had to kind of tighten one and then the other just to get them to kind of line up. Sometimes when they make these, when they heat up the aluminum, it moves. That's normal. I imagine you might have that problem on a Mishimoto or a more higher end also, just because of cooling and heating. Everything else looks fine. So I'm going to leave those 2 bottom pieces just like that, the 2 oil cooler accessories for the automatic just like that. Make sure this is tightened before you put it in so you don't have to get worried later that you're leaking. And now I'm just going to pretty much drop this in, so fingers crossed everything will be as smooth as it was coming out. Guys, all right, so radiator's in. This install has been a bit of a comedy because I got not 1 bad cut, but 2, if not 3. I sliced the whole back half of my arm, hand. Jesus, I can't talk. This heat's killing me. Pushing this radiator in. So, few things I recommend. Obviously, there's recommendations after you try it yourself for the first time. You are going to have to drill and tap these out. Either have the time to do it then or be prepared to do it later. So these 2 are snapped. I can't put that on. I got that one snapped. This side's on, so I will be changing out hardware. This radiator is a little wider, so it was not an illusion. It is a little wider. It is a pain in the butt to get it down, and getting it to seat in the original radiator holes for the bushing may not happen. Maybe not. I got to try a little more, but it's pretty much almost a ½ inch in this way. So, and I do have the high flow cats, so your cats may look different, and that may affect your install for this radiator. I forgot about that. But I recommend probably removing this whole battery box, disconnecting the fans, which I should have said from the beginning. Obviously removing this, removing the box. I did take off the front bumper. And be careful when you put the radiator in that your connections are not underneath, like laying beneath where the radiator was set, because you can cut them on the sheet metal lip that's there that's supposed to retain the radiator within this, you know, little space. So make sure they fall basically out towards the ground. Make sure they fall out towards the ground. You can barely see it. My lens is probably dirty, plus there's like no light. Focus. Alright, so make sure that the wires kind of fall towards the ground. Same thing for the wiring on this side, and then connect everything. This hose that goes from the bottom to the top is a pain in the ass, so make sure you put the hose clamp in a position where you can grab it with whatever pliers you're using. All the bolts are 10 millimeter. If you had a question, all the bolts are 10. If you were concerned with what socket size you need, sorry you had to wait to the end. But pretty much just make sure everything's tight, and then top it off. And keep your old radiator cap just in case this one doesn't seal it. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'm going to the ER, so I'll see you guys later, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I recommend always having some gauze. Please stop if you work on cars and there's not really anyone around to help. It'll kind of start the clotting so that you don't bleed out everywhere. Other than that, I'm going to toss this radiator in the dumpster, clean up after myself, and basically get this put together. Go see the doctor. I'll see you guys later. Bye.